Hey guys, I am Quentin Torbert and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Great Things YouTube channel, where the purpose of this is to talk about the great things, have great conversations, have great success, great friendships, great relationships. And I'm super excited to talk to my next guest, Theresa. What's up, Theresa?
Not much. What's going on, Q?
Hey, I'm great. Can you introduce yourself to our wonderful viewers?
Yeah, so my name is Theresa Rivera, and I'm a mom of two girls. And I've known Q for probably like a year or two now.
Yeah.
Through our church small group.
Yeah. Time flies by, doesn't it? I'm trying to think
Yeah.
when I first started coming. It's close to like 2 years, I think.
I think it is.
Yeah. And so we're continuing the relationship goals series. And so one of my favorite pastors, Pastor Rich Wilkerson, was one of the guests this past Sunday. And the message was single and stuck.
Single and stuck. Ooh. I feel the anointing. Single and stuck. I'm in an empty arena today, but I don't need other people in this room to get me fired up. I got a word in my heart that I believe right now, if you're out there and you're single and you feel like you're stuck, well, congratulations. You tuned in to the right broadcast today because the word of the Lord is for you today.
Which I don't know. It took me in.
Totally relatable. Yeah, definitely.
Right? Single. It's like overall, like, how do you feel about, have you been watching the other videos in the relationship goal series?
So most of them. I think I've missed two, but for the most part.
Overall, how do you like the entire relationship goal series? And like, overall, how did you like this specific message about single and stuck?
So besides the series, I've been reading the book. So it's been really helpful. It's definitely eye-opening. Definitely makes you take a step back and kind of like reevaluate some things. So I think it's just been very like insightful as to kind of what you should be doing. Like what would be best for you to be doing that we kind of sometimes get off track with.
I love it. And I love how we couple with the book. I'll leave like the link to the book below in the comment section, but it's a really good book called Relationship Goals Reloaded. And it's been pretty helpful. Like I've definitely attacked at certain points in the book, but it's like, like the good type of attack. And it's something that can help push us forward and help us have healthy, beautiful relationships, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's just jump right into this message. I love overall, he says, the three things that we can do to get unstuck are: number one, focus on you. Yeah. Number two, be the minority. And number three, break up. So first and foremost, let's talk about the first one, focus on you. How important is it, do you think, to focus on yourself before you get into a relationship?
I think it's huge. I think we don't really think about that at first. We're so kind of set on finding somebody and what we're going to do when we find that person, or what we're going to build when we find that person, that we don't really take advantage of. At least I didn't take advantage of what I could do before then, as far as time, as far as energy, as far as, you know, making myself better. Like I just didn't focus on it. So I think it's huge.
I'm not exact same way. You see a girl that's pretty, it's like, oh, I just want to date her. Like, you don't.
Maybe that's her.
Take the time to like go through the process of like vetting that person out. And so you have to like focus on yourself.
Or even making yourself better. Because like we want to go ahead and jump to being with somebody else. And it's like, okay, am I the best person that I could be? Like conversationally, do I communicate? Do I kind of, you know, consider others before myself? Am I selfish? You know, what areas do I need to grow in? Yeah. Like we don't take the time to make sure we're our best selves before we kind of start attaching to other people.
That is so good. Wow.
It could make a big difference. Like if you think about it, like how many relationships have we been in that we kind of sabotage?
Yeah. That's so good.
Insecurities or...
You preaching.
You preaching. To myself.
You said that, I'm thinking about, I mean, you already know, but I'm thinking about like my last relationship that I was in last year. And I don't even know if I would call it a relationship, the talking ship. You know, before you get into
Yeah, we have talking ships. Yeah.
Talking ships. Yeah, I think probably I was a little bit selfish in the last one, which now that I've had time to kind of reflect with myself, I probably wouldn't be able to say if I'm with somebody, but now that I've had time to kind of reflect on my own, like that's definitely been brought to my attention when that talking ship ended. And so I'll admit it. Look, we gotta talk after this, okay?
That's fine. But it's like I think that's the same with everybody. Like, okay, so insecurities that I had made me be less trusting, or made me like be more self-conscious, as opposed to kind of just trusting myself, believing in myself, letting the relationship be. Like, if we look at it, like there's probably a lot of things that we could have been better at or dealt with in a better, more productive way if we had been in a better place to begin with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I mean, now I'm trying to focus on me as far as, you know, just what do I need to improve on? Like, what do I need to change or be better at?
And that's what Pastor Rich touched on. One of his points under Focus on Me was healthy relationships are made up of healthy individuals.
This is very, very important, and this is fundamental. Healthy relationships are made up of healthy individuals. Can you write that down for me? Come on. Those of you that want to get married one day, those of you that are married right now, healthy relationships are made up of healthy individuals. See, the reason why I say focus on you is because the reality of it is you focus on you because you can only fix you.
Healthy relationships are made up of healthy individuals. And that sounds so cliche because I've definitely heard that before. But once you're trying to like talk to a girl or trying to talk to a young guy and like you're not whole by yourself, you're not like fully healed from the last relationship, it's just going to end up damaging the whole situation.
Yeah.
I love that part when Pastor Rich brought that to light.
I think I heard somewhere that like we start expecting other people to fix or fill like the areas that we are weak in or that we struggle with. And it's number one, it's not their job to do that. And number two, they can't. Like they can't do that. They can't fix like our past hurts or our past scars. Like they can't do it. We have to work on it ourselves.
And then
but we like
they can't fix it.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's so good. To have a good relationship, you have to pretty much start with yourself, is what Pastor Rich is saying. Like, I don't need a partner to progress. I need a purpose for my life. And for me, I'm in this weird season where I'm still trying to figure out fully what my purpose is. And Pastor Mike Todd kind of talked about that a couple months ago in one of the earlier relationship goal series. Well, I don't fully know. I think I kind of have the general area, but like my life doesn't start when I meet the person. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to with my purpose. Just like Adam in the garden, he was already working towards his purpose. He was already working towards something. And then the girl. So how important do you think it is to kind of be walking in your purpose before you kind of find that guy?
I think, I don't know if it was Michael Todd or somebody else who mentioned it, like if we focus on that purpose, like the person who is supposed to be, you know, for us will like line up with that purpose. You know what I mean? Like you're going to have either the same ideals or the same goals or the same maybe passion. You know what I mean? And you're going to be able to walk together in that purpose as opposed to not trying to figure that out, trying to find a person and then trying to make your purposes mesh. So gotcha. I think it's big. I just think it's kind of hard sometimes when you feel like you don't know like what your purpose is.
Yeah.
I mean, I have things that I am passionate about, but I don't know exactly, okay, what ministry should I be working in or where should I be serving? Like, I don't exactly know that.
I think we're very similar in that regard. We're kind of in the general area, but I still need a little bit more clarity. Still got to do a little more prayer and meditation to figure out like what it is. And to me, I'm not necessarily in a hurry to like get there. Like I think kind of finding your purpose may be like a gradual thing, kind of like a relationship with God. It's like a gradual thing. You just don't like wake up with it. So one of the areas I really liked about this is that he talked to the ladies quite a bit. And at certain points, I felt attacked a little bit. He was coming for the ladies. One of the big points he made towards ladies is that ladies are not less than men. Again, I repeat, ladies are not less than men. And
Agreed.
So a lot of guys as far as counseling, and one of the things that the guy says to him is that my woman won't submit to me. She keeps doing her own thing. And as a man, you have to ask yourself, am I worth submitting to? Which is huge. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that because you know the Bible verse, I think it's Ephesians 5:25, where the woman must submit to the husband. And I think that's typically where people stop. They don't continue reading the rest of it. And the rest of the verse is husbands submits to wives, and then husbands are submitted. What is the verse?
Husbands love your wives. So the women submit to the husbands, and the husbands love their wives as Christ loved the church.
Perfect. And he died for the church. And so
that's
a woman worth dying for. So that's something I have to ask myself. Am I a man worth submitting to? And as far as the woman, I'll ask you, are you a woman worth dying for?
It's hard. It's hard because if you're completely honest, you're like, okay, I know I have all of these good qualities and all of these things that are positives that I bring to the table, but I still know I have like other things to work on and maybe be better at or grow at. Yeah. So am I a woman worth dying for? Yes. But I still know that there are areas that I can improve on so that it's like an even greater value. You know what I'm saying? So that I'm that much more worth dying for.
I
In
agree.
that sense.
When he said that, I was like, whoa, throw the entire laptop. I have to be a man worth submitting for, and the woman has to be a woman worth dying for, which is huge. I think women probably, oh, that's tough. I don't know if men have it. Yeah, I think men have it worse for sure.
You think so?
Because you have to die.
I mean, you have to die to yourself, but at the same time, like you get like the helper, right? Like you get the support, you get the person that's there for you, you get like the confidant, you get, I mean, ideally you get that person that's gonna like make up for that.
Yeah. And Pastor Rich, he made a comment about that in the sermon where he says his wife has helped every area of his life, like every area that she has touched over time, because they've been together for a couple of years. Every area that she's touched, like he has improved in. I'm like, come on, Don Cherie, I need me a woman like that.
That's big though. Like if you think about it, and vice versa too. I think, you know what I mean. Like there's probably a lot in her life that he's been able to support or foster or kind of help her open up to. I mean, and if you see like the relationships that are really good and strong and like long lasting, it's probably like kind of a I don't know, both have that effect on each other, I feel like.
Gotcha. So. That's so true when you think about it. They have some compromise and they make each other better.
Yeah.
The man has some weaknesses, the woman has some weaknesses, and they like fill in for each other and they make each other, I won't say whole, but they make each other better. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second point that Pastor Rich talked about in his sermon, Stuck and Single, is be the minority. The majority is so filled up. What were your thoughts on being the minority? What were your thoughts on being the minority?
So I think he hit the nail on the head. Like, I think in general, like as a culture, like just society today, we feel like we have to be whatever everyone else is being. You know what I mean? We have to have, you know, the pictures up on IG that show that we're out and about, or that show we're in shape, or that show we're, you know, whatever the case may be. Like we feel like we have to do the same things everyone else is doing to make sure that we're out there just like everyone else. But he said something to the effect like, if you look like everyone else, how are you going to be found? Like if you want something different, right? Like we want a godly relationship, we want a long-lasting relationship, we want something that is genuine and just like, I don't know, solid. And at the same time, we want to get the person's attention in the same way that the world does. Mm-hmm. We want to, you know, show off the same things that the world does. We want to like focus on the things that the world does. So like, which one do we want?
Transformation starts with a new thought, with a revelation, with healthy thinking. And healthy thinking is, I don't look like the crowd. I've been called out of the crowd. I don't look like the world. I'm called to follow Jesus. If you feel stuck today, I would encourage you, be the minority. The majority is overcrowded.
So I think it's you know, if we look at ourselves, we can kind of like see ourselves falling into the pattern of, you know, being like everyone else. And so we have to kind of step back and be like, okay, what's the focus? Like, what do I actually want to project? Do I want to project, hey, look at me because of this? Or do I want to just be happy in life and let that speak for itself?
Exactly. Because men can do this too, but it's definitely a woman thing. When I scroll through my timeline, where women want to wear as less clothing as possible, and definitely in that regard, you're going to stand out, but you're going to attract the wrong guy. You're going to attract the guy who's attracted to a woman who shows off her body all the time. So in that regard, of course, you're not going to find the man of your dreams or your future husband. You're just going to find like a quick one-nighter.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true, but I mean, you have to realize that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you are by yourself, or when you are not going out on dates, or when you are feeling lonely, or whatever the case may be, you feel like, okay, let me do this to get attention. Like we all kind of want attention. We want, you know, somebody to speak to, or we want to have, you know, a movie night, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So we feel like, okay, let me go ahead and just fill that hole.
Gotcha.
With something, and then that something ends up a lot of times being, you know, a detriment, a waste of time, or something that takes from us.
Energy, waste of money. Like a lot of us are being fooled by culture. We're looking at culture and whatever everybody else is doing. Kind of like in peer pressure and grade school, like what everybody else is doing, whatever the popular kids are doing. That's one. But unfortunately, as Christians, not unfortunately, but as believers, we're set apart, and so we may get called weird and may get singled out. But that's the road that we've chosen. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's not popular, but at the end of the day, like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like these relationships that start off as like, fixture attractions or whatever the case may be, like, where do they end up? And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, what do you want to have long term? Do you want to have like a solid family that, 20 years down the road is still together,
Mhm.
still solid, still, loving each other? Or it's like, do you want to kind of always have to be chasing that, I don't know, appearance, like that look?
Yeah. I think it's exhausting and draining. And he
Yeah.
delivered one of the biggest bars of the whole night when he said this. I almost threw my laptop out of the. He said,
What?
"If you knew your worth, you would stop giving discounts. If
Bro,
you
I
knew
posted
your
that.
worth, you would
I,
stop giving discounts."
I posted that on my IG because I'm like, oh, that one hit me, like it hit me. You know what I mean? So that's why I posted it, because I'm like, how many times have I settled for like whoever's paying attention at the moment as opposed to what it is that I ultimately want?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like we'll get in this place where we're like, because I have like ups and downs where I'm like, okay, I'm cool being single. I need to focus on this, need to focus on family, need to focus on career. And then I'm like, it would be nice if,
Yeah.
I had someone. So it's like he said that, and I'm like, how many times have I given somebody a discount for the sake of filling that space
Yeah.
when they didn't deserve it? Again, not because they're bad people or not because like I'm better, but just because they're not aligned with where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
So that was
With their purpose. And I remember, so originally with this video, Single and Stuck, I was going to record it by myself and just talk to the camera, just be by myself. And then I saw your story last week where you posted that. I was like, I got to get Theresa on. I got to get Theresa on. I think God works in mysterious ways, because I legit was planning, I was writing out my notes and all that. And so I was planning on recording it during the week by myself. Then I saw your IG story, and I guess it was just meant for me to be on IG that day, because I'm on IG, then I get off of it for 2 weeks, then I get back on it.
Yeah.
So it was meant for me to be on it to see you, because like you're blessing us with this knowledge today. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was that message was a big blessing. Like I said, like I missed like probably the last two,
Yeah.
and then I got back on for this one. I was like, okay, I hear you. Like I'm listening. I got it.
Your servant is listening.
I get it.
Yeah, boy,
So
listening. That's good.
yeah,
It's so good though. There's a Bible verse that says something to the effect of, "Blessed are the hearers, but most importantly to the doers." And so, like, what like a good word like this, we can not only just listen to, we actually have to like put into practice. And so that's what I think people are gonna take away really from relationship goals, Reloaded, the book, the series, like put this stuff into action, because you can listen to it all day, but if you're still going back to these trash relationships, that really defeats the purpose. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, definitely. That's just like anything. Like you can know, like you can hear truth, but until you put it into practice, it doesn't do you any good. You know what I mean? Like you can watch all the videos on working out that you want to, but until you actually start getting up and doing it, there's not gonna be a change. You're not going to reach whatever goal it is health wise. So it's the same thing. Like we can listen to talks on relationships, or we can read the Bible, but what are we doing to actually implement it?
Yeah. So the third and the final point that Pastor brought up was break up. And this was a really fun one. It was funny at first, because if this is a single sermon, what are we breaking up for? Like, we don't have anybody to break up for. But can you explain that point to us?
So I think there was a few things that he mentioned about the breakup. I know there was one that I remember right now that said break up with the fairy tale. Like break up with the idea that like everything is supposed to go this exact way. Like I'm an organizer or a planner. Like I like to know how things are gonna go. So I always felt like, okay, this is gonna happen, then this is gonna happen. I'm gonna get married. After I get married, we're gonna buy a house. After we buy a house, we're gonna do this. And then the minute that it doesn't happen like that, now you feel lost. Now you feel behind. Now you feel like, okay, let me just hurry up and make this happen.
Yeah.
And so we need to break up with like, I think our plans, like our vision of how things are supposed to go. And
Break
just
up.
kind of like,
That's good.
yeah, just kind of like let God lead us in some stuff.
And I love how you said that, because we grew up watching these Disney movies, which a lot of people are on Disney Plus. We're watching these old school Disney princess movies again. And at the very end of most of those movies, they always say they lived happily ever after. And so,
Mm-hmm.
as a lot of us are being schooled by culture, some of us didn't grow up with like godly relationships around us. And so you kind of look to those Disney movies, you look to culture for your happily ever after, and then you kind of get disappointed when it doesn't kind of span out that way. And so that was a really good point he made about breaking up with that happily ever after princess mentality.
Fairy tale idea, yeah. Even shows, even like, even not even Disney movies, just regular movies. It always ends up that, you know, they overcome the obstacle, they get together, everything's great, and everything is just as it should be. And so when it doesn't happen in real life, we're like, you know, we start doubting things, doubting ourselves.
You might not have a person you need to break up with, but maybe you got a mindset you need to break up with. You might not have a girlfriend, or a boyfriend to break up with, but there's a good chance there's a perspective you need to break up with. You might not have a person right now you need to break up with, but I got a feeling that you might need to break up with some resentment, break up with some failure, break up with your past. Listen, if you don't break up with some stuff, that stuff's gonna break you down.
And then that's like something else you have to break up with, like break up with doubt. Some people need to break up with resentment. Some people need to break up with those relationships that they've already broken up with, but in their mind, they're still like toying with it. And I'll feel that where you break up with somebody and they're still on your mind. Like you have to break up with that because they're occupying space in your mind. They're occupying energy from you. So you have to like break up with that because you're single, but you're really not single because your mind's occupied. Like how difficult is that?
Yeah, you're still caught up. You know what I mean? Like you still can't grow because you're still like either reliving certain things or still hurt by certain things. So you can't move forward because you still are kind of hanging on to like feelings or ideas or I don't know, hurts.
Preaching. Well, like overall, how did you enjoy this sermon? What do you think probably is the biggest thing you learned from this? If you had like one big takeaway, which I mean, I don't know if you can see my note screen. I have like a whole thing of notes, but if you could point out like one thing you learned, the biggest takeaway, what would that be from this sermon?
I think just to focus on myself. Like in general, that encompasses a lot. Like focus on myself and be like your truest, most genuine, authentic self, and let that be what brings whoever it is at whatever time that happens. Like don't be in a rush to make something happen.
Gotcha. That's so good. Amen. What would be the biggest thing that I learned? I'm thinking. I took my whole page of notes. I learned 50,000 things.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is probably just breaking up with past failures, breaking up with resentment. You have to break up with some memories, some bad habits. And so that's healthy to break up. And so we're not talking about breakup in the sense of breaking up with the person necessarily. But breaking up is kind of like in your mind. You have to like get that stuff out so you can actually fully be free and fully single. So I love it.
Not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's a progression thing.
Yeah. Teresa, aka Teresita, thank you so much for agreeing to be on this. You've been so good. You've been so helpful. I think you definitely have blessed our viewers at home.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is the QreatThings YouTube channel. Be sure to follow me online at @Qreat_things. And again, our objective is to have great conversations, have great friendships, and great relationships. So if you see anything that speaks to you and you definitely want me to talk about it, definitely DM me or put in the comment section. I read all those. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Peace. Peace.